Hello everyone, welcome to CloudMass. Today we will learn how we can compare two EC2 instances. So these will be the deliverables for this particular video. How you can compare two AWS instances based on its cost and configurations. There will be real-time demo using instances t3.small, which is an Intel instance, and t4g.small, which is a Graviton instance. So there will be a real-time demo of how to compare these two, and also the costing usage for these particular instances. Techniques specified for the above two can be used to compare any two particular EC2 instances. So this video will be very helpful to select the exact EC2 instance which will be suitable for your needs with minimum cost. So let's get started. First we will go and launch our instance. So we will name it like Intel instance, and to guide us I have some steps, like we will use t3 small instance with Ubuntu AMI. So search Ubuntu. So here we have Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So it's x86. Okay. I believe it is selected. Yeah, now it is selected. So t3.small. t3.small. Okay, we will create a new key pair. Let's name it to Intel key. We need PEM, create new pair. It is created. Rest of the things let's keep as it is. Launch. So here our Intel instance is launching. So okay, let's go on and launch our Graviton instance. So this will be our Graviton instance. We will go and search for Ubuntu, and we will use ARM64 for this. Then AMI is same. It will populate. We have t4g.small for today's video. Okay, I don't know why my clicks are working with a lag, but let's keep moving forward. Like all of this supposed to be smooth, like only then it. Okay, this will be Graviton key. Create key pair. Rest we will leave as it is. Launch. So our Graviton instance is also launching. So you have to wait till all of your instances are being launched. So here currently status is initializing. We will come back and see when status is all checked. So now our instances are running, its checks are also passing. So let's move on. So here actually what we will do, we will install sysbench and stressng package. It will help us to determine what different configurations this particular instance can support. So let's first go on and log in, and actually let's make two of it. We will sequentially log in. Let's this side we will keep our Intel. Okay, first we also have to make our keys like this. Only then it will able to SSH chmod 400 Graviton. Okay, SSH -I Intel Ubuntu @ our Intel public IP, paste, and here SSH -I Graviton Ubuntu @ our Graviton public IP. So yeah, let's see whether we can able to go inside. Yes, everything is yes. Okay, so we are inside our, this one is our Intel instance, this one is our Graviton instance. So let's run sudo apt update. So updates are running. So here it is done. Let's wait for this one. Okay, so updates are also done. Now let's install. This should suppose. Okay, we have one. Okay, you know what, let's install. Okay, we have installed 2 times here. Sorry guys. So let's do install here also. So what exactly it's doing, it is installing sysbench and stressng. So sysbench and stressng is installed. So let's run our test. So here we will first use sysbench and use 2 CPU threads on both of them. So tests are running. Let's wait. In the meanwhile, we will create our Intel configuration file. Save as Intel file. Graviton file. Okay, so it's done. Let's just copy the results from here onwards. These are our Intel results, and these are our Graviton. We will compare it later. Okay, now let's run our second test. So this one is basically a stress test with we will uh, push lots of matrix floating point multiplications to our CPU and see which CPU performs better. So it will run for 20 seconds. So let's wait for 20 seconds. In the meanwhile, let's make this ready. We will be using text compare. So here we can see the stress test is completed. Let's copy it. These are our Intel results. And these are our Graviton results. We have copied it from stress tests onwards. Okay. Stress ng info. Okay. So let's compare. So here we can see on this side we have Intel file and here we have Graviton. So let's compare the results. CPU speed of Intel. CPU of Intel has executed 595 events per second. On the other hand, Graviton has executed 2138 events per second. So like it is 4 times faster than your Intel CPU. Okay, let's move on. Total number of events are there. Okay, and latency is very high in Intel. Like here we have 3 milliseconds and here we have 0.93 milliseconds. Like latency should be minimum. Like whenever you make an API request, you want the latency to be as minimum as possible. And 95th percentile, 3 milliseconds, 0.94 milliseconds. Graviton also wins here. Thread fairness. Okay, I don't know what thread fairness means, to be honest. So let's move on. Then, okay, 20 seconds stress ng test. Here we have BOGO operations. 32,419 bogus operations were executed by Intel processor, and here are 1,952 bogus operations were executed by the Graviton processor. So here actually the Graviton processor have failed. I mean, like I think it Intel has executed large number of operations here. So let's see. BOGO operations, right? stress ng BOGO operations should be higher or lower? Because according to my understanding, these are the number of matrix operations, right? Indicate BOGO's operations. Higher indicate better performance. Yeah, like as the name has suggested, because these BOGO operations are the matrix of operations we have transferred to the CPU. So here the matrix operations were 32,419, but here the matrix operations it was able to execute was only 1,952. So if your application is more of CPU intensive, you should use the Intel processor. On the other hand, like as far as CPU speeds is concerned, it like Graviton wins in that case. So you can compare any instance characteristics by using these two particular tests. So also moving on, let's compare cost of these two particular instances. One is T3 small, one is T4G small. Okay, T3 small instance pricing. And this vintage cloud gives very good representation of prices and costing. T4G dot small instance pricing. Vintage, it is vintage. So yeah, T3 dot small, US Virginia, Linux, no upfront cost, hourly, 2 CPUs, 2 gigabits of memory. We have on-demand cost of $0.02, and in T4G dot small we have on-demand cost of $0.016. So 0.016, 0.02. So clearly Intel instance is a little bit costly as compared to Graviton. So also there are spot, reserved and other tiers available. So let's keep our discussion limited to the on-demand. So as we can see, this Graviton is cheaper, but in our test, in our test we can see Graviton has failed the stress test. So I will tell you what exactly is happening here. This particular sysbench test has performed worse than Graviton in case of latency. Like latency is Graviton is very low. So suppose you are making an application which just reads data from the DB and then returns in API request. So there you can actually save cost and have low latency also. But suppose you have an application where you are doing large number of matrix multiplication, like some machine learning application or large language model application. There using, although in machine learning we mostly use GPUs, but I have just taken the example of like matrix multiplication in case of machine learning. There the Graviton will not perform well. For that matrix floating point operations, this Intel CPU will perform well. So you have to decide, like now we have both the inputs. We have input of latency, we have input of matrix multiplications for these two types of instances. Apart from that, we also have the pricing, like Graviton is cheaper and Intel is costlier relative to the Graviton. So if I will be making a web server which just reads which do just very small level of computation and just read data from DB or any database or any NoSQL database and returns the request, I will be using Graviton for sure, because I'm not doing any matrix multiplication, I'm not doing any matrix operation. So I will definitely go for saving my dollars and choose Graviton for that. Apart from that, if my application or my some bad job uses so much matrix multiplications, like currently I can only remember the machine learning example, but there can be different examples also, because in machine learning we use GPU. So in that kind of scenario where I'll be needing more matrix multiplication and cost has no barrier to me, I will go for Intel CPUs, because Intel CPUs are more optimized for matrix multiplication, as we have seen to this particular stress test. So that's how you can use this particular technique to compare any of the two instances and which particular instance is suitable as far as the tests are concerned. uh, like this particular test, sysbench test, gives you information about latency. This stress ng test gives you information about the matrix multiplication, and this Vantage site will give you the pricing. So your first priority will be delivering your application. Second priority should be minimizing the cost, because the dollar saved is the dollar earned. Like you must have seen those Warshell videos where the Warshell cost was going up until $1 lakh and whatnot. So it's always better to deploy your APIs in or your batch jobs within your own servers. Like here we are using AWS for that, and within the platform AWS and GCP also you can compare different types of instances to reduce your cost. Okay, so these were the two tests for that. uh, I think that's all I have to convey to you. If you have any questions, go and ask them in comments. I will try to reply each one of them. So yeah, thank you.